but it's Ron again over at Becoming Enlightened Together. So this is the second reading I'm doing for today to make up for the reading I didn't do yesterday. And this closes off this week's energy. Midnight tonight, it starts a whole new week energetically for us. So, and I'll do a weekly reading tomorrow. Okay. So let's go ahead and get things rolling here. Now, this particular reading, it looks like somebody you knew, and again, it looks like it's kind of a repeat from the last one I just did. It's talking about how somebody that you know is stuck in a very karmic relationship. Now, this is somebody who had done you wrong. They left you for somebody else. You may have been in a very long term relationship. It might have been a short term. It doesn't really intimate one way or the other. It just shows that they had basically done you wrong in some fashion or form. They went off to somebody that they thought was better, the grass is greener syndrome kind of a thing. And that person is giving them a greater dose of everything that, they did to you and perhaps many other people before you. So, as a result of that, they have a partner right now who's exceptionally stubborn and foolhardy, somebody who's very ignorant and lustful, somebody who's brutal, violent. Even the word rape has come up. The word evil also comes up. So, whoever this person is that they shacked up with, that they thought was better than you, is giving them literally, they're acting like a straight up demon, for lack of a better way of putting it. Every word that you could associate with that type of malevolent deity is here. So that's what they're going through. Now they're going to want to, and they have it in their heart to come back to you, as I stated in the last reading. We saw that very candidly, but this one is focusing on, the fact that they're really going through this particular karmic payback. I mean, that's what it is. So I'm just going to call it for what it is. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now, the initial energy for the entire week was that of Iwas in the upright. Now, Iwas in the upright is about protection and defense. And you need to protect yourself from this person or people. It could be more than one person who's coming back, but we're seemingly focusing in specifically on somebody that was, that you had a relationship with of some type. It could have been a deep friendship, somebody that you work with, but it seems to be something a little bit more. It seems to be like it was something in dealing with, emotions or affection of some kind, even if it wasn't fully consummated in any way. So we see that type of energy. So this talks about for the collective to remain reliable, dependable, and keep up your defenses. Keep working on your inner shadow work and so on, and everything is fine for you. You're protected. Now, the energy we pulled on last Sunday for today, which is Saturday, was that of Urus. And Urus is ordinarily very positive, but it's in the reverse. So instead of strength, health, and vitality, it talks about exactly the opposite types of things. Instead, somebody who's extremely, sick, ill, somebody who's actually suffered from a tremendous amount of energy loss, who is, weak-willed as well. Somebody who's missed many opportunities as a result of their only being concerned about fulfilling their needs. I'll call it needs. I don't want to get too candid or bold, but you understand what I'm saying. And somebody who's extremely obsessed. They have a misdirected force against you in the collective, or they did. They're reevaluating all that now that they're getting this karma. And some of them, not all of them, some of them are actually still blaming you. In fact, they're blaming you for what's happening to them now. They think somehow that you have something to do with it, when in fact it's all based on their actions. So they're in a state of ignorance, perhaps dominated by another. And again, this is what's really getting to the crux of it. They are in a karmic relationship, and this person, whoever they are, is ruling over them through intimidation in some way, fashion, or form. So this person, as well as the karmic that they're with, is very inconsistent. They're ignorant, very lustful, brutal, violent, very rash and callous in their comings and goings, and their actions. Now, the present energy is absolutely no better at all. It's the god Thor's room, Thurisaz, but it's in the reverse. So as you can imagine, anytime we get especially a god, a rune that's associated with a specific god and it's in the reverse, that energy is typically not very positive at all. And being that that's one of the most powerful runes in the runic deck altogether, and it's in the reverse, again, we get words like rapist, evil, somebody who is very spiteful and hates, somebody who is a danger to everybody around them and themselves, somebody who's very foolhardy and stubborn, somebody who does not take advice. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. They have their own notions of what it is or what reality should be, and you cannot convince them otherwise, no matter how hard you try, no matter how much evidence you may have presented to them, no matter how loving and kind and patient that you may be in this endeavor. I would say don't even waste your energy. Don't. Okay? But again, somebody who wants to betray, who is betrayed their other half, the person who was probably in a relationship with you. Again, the word evil comes up. There are many words, and again, it's basically very descriptive of what you would, give as far as energetically expressing a demonic, or archonic, or negative jinn-like, deity of some kind. Alright, so there are other types of evil spirits. I don't want to get into the Nagas or whatever the case may be, if you're talking about Hinduism and so on, but they have their own shares of demonic influences or forces, okay? And, it's pretty self-explanatory. The energies that are usually associated with them are pretty much universal. Alright, and that's what we're seeing here. So, the grass was greener syndrome. They left you for somebody else, and that somebody else turned out to be a straight-up demon. They're getting exactly what they gave to you. And if they haven't yet, they certainly are going to. But what this seems to be, and it's as powerful as it is and consistent as it's been, it looks like they're pretty much going through right this moment. So, and a lot of them want to come back. They want to come back to you. So keep that in mind. Now, the obstacles and challenges right now is that of Ewas. Now, some of these runes are just shaped so funny that it's hard to get a good grip on. So Ewas looks like the letter M, but it's the letter E, and it's in the upright. So it talks about two horses, a horse and a rider, a horse and a carriage, a person and their automobile, progress, travel, forward momentum, movement of any kind, transportation. But it talks about in the sense of doing it in terms of harmony, being in harmony with that machine, that horse, that other person, whatever the case may be. So teamwork, trustworthiness, loyalty, an ideal marriage or relationship. Now, why is this an obstacle or challenge? Because that's precisely the opposite of what these people are experiencing right now. That's perhaps what they thought they would have with this person, but it turns out they've got exactly the opposite, because they found somebody who's just as, if you will, low vibrational as they are. Now they're getting those types of things happening to them. But what this rune also talks about is confirmation beyond doubt, beyond a shadow of doubt. The other runes that we're talking about here. So the help and advice is also in the upright. Now, the help and advice is that of Legos. Okay. Now, Lego speaks in terms of water, and just like when we talked about air earlier, water denotes things such as emotions. Okay. So, what that looks like is courses, right? Or lakes, rivers, streams, any type of body of water, the ocean, flow of that water, leakage of that water, things of that nature. But it also talks about the same things in terms of one's emotions, how they move, are they stagnant, okay? So it talks about harmony and joy and bliss in the upright, blessings and affection, desire. It talks about fellowship, prosperity, ecstasy, and glory. It talks about spiritual reward, success, and recognition of one's worth. If the few that we're seeing who have actually started to make the first steps in this transition in terms of recognizing first the error of their ways, realizing and accepting that they are responsible for their previous actions, and now, what is coming their way in terms of the karma. And they are starting to do the inner work. These things are potentially there for them. Okay? And in order to get those things, now, well, I jumped ahead a little bit. Lagos is about intuition and insights and everything else. So in order to get the things I just referred, which is actually the energy of Wonyo, I jumped ahead. I get brain farts all the time when I'm doing this, but that is the actual future outcome. But the future outcome only comes if you use the help and advice, which is that of Legos, which I was trying to define earlier, which is about using your intuition, about going within and seeking clarity, and again, recognizing that the things that you're going through are not just because the collective is doing some kind of black magic on you. They're not, or they wouldn't be in the collective. It's not God just saying, well, you are so bad, blah, 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 I'm going to punish you, blah, blah, blah. I mean, there is some truth in a sense to that. You are being disciplined at this point, but it's only because you have refused to see all the previous efforts by Spirit, your spiritual guides, the angels, your ancestors, the Most High Himself, the universe, whatever you want to call it, or you believe in. I believe in all of those things personally myself. But the fact of the matter is, you turned a blind eye over and over and over again. You were simply not going to hear it. You continued on with your actions, even though inside you knew there was something in you that kept saying that what you were doing was wrong, but you did it anyways. Now, as a result of that, you're paying the price for it. So, again, the potential for those who are definitely serious about trying, to do right, in this particular lifetime, to change their ways, it's going to require a tremendous amount of effort. The same effort that you put in to doing all these things to other people to get the things that you felt that you deserved, without earning them, but just simply taking them. And in fact, you may have actually gone as far in some cases. We've seen that over the last year. We've actually taken people's lives and everything else just for your own benefit in some way, fashion, or form. Now, that's not everybody who's in karmic energy out there, but this has talked about many of the people that are within the collective's, energetic sphere of influence. Definitely have gone to those kinds of endeavors. And some of them have been doing the darker forms of energetic work. Call it hoodoo, voodoo, black magic. You can call it whatever you want to. They probably are not really even sure. I mean, they probably specify as one form or another, root work or whatever the case may be. Perhaps they went online, they got themselves a magic book. They started burning candles and things like that, and uttering the worst against you. It doesn't matter. It's your intent. Regardless of what type of ritual that you perform, how you do it, and everything else, it's your focused energy and it's your intention behind that, as well as the emotions you put into that intent. That's really what produces the type of manifestations that we're talking about, the law of attraction kind of thing. But, still, there are, if you will, guardians of, energetic exchange. Those things may be allowed under certain circumstances, but if you're trying to do the absolute worst against somebody who's done absolutely nothing wrong to you, the universe does maintain a balance, okay? And sometimes it doesn't wait. Sometimes it happens immediately, but many times it happens after first you've been warned multiple times, given the chance, if you will, to repent. If you fail to do so, inevitably, that has to go to harsher terms, if you will, in order to get you to wake up, smell the coffee kind of thing. And that's definitely where we're at this point with some of these people. Now, like I said before, over the last several weeks in particular, there are a few of these karmics who have already made up their mind. They are not going to relent. They're going to do everything in their power to the point of death to make sure that you pay. For whatever reason, they have focused in on you, and you are their mortal enemy, so to speak, even though they're just simple demons. And they think that they're going to be able to do something against you. You are one of God's children. They can't touch you. They can't. As long as you're keeping your vibration up and everything else, and you're doing what you are here to do, your life's purpose, you are being authentic, they can't touch you, period. But it's not going to keep them from trying. So, and that's where they're at, and it's going to end up, unfortunately, ending them as a result of it. But I have been personally, here to try to convince them of this, and again, they're not going to listen. We've had that energy, echoed back to me multiple times as well. Some of these people are foolhardy, and they're just not capable of listening to anybody's advice at all. And the people that I'm talking about, again, are looking for any way, shape, or form to take you out. Why? I don't know. It's going to be different for all of us, of course, but they have made you their enemy. Um, in some cases, it could be because of their counterpart, the one who did you wrong. They found somebody even more karmic than they are, and that particular person somehow, shape, or form knows about you out there in the collective, and for whatever reason, they want to get revenge. Perhaps that karmic partner of yours, that karmic soulmate, or whatever the case may be. We all have free will, so even though you may have been soulmates or whatever, some people choose not to do their intended, if you will, purpose upon this planet. They have chosen the selfish, basically ego-driven, self-indulgent, life. And as a result of that, like Lucifer himself in the Bible story, that he was basically cast out of heaven. Well, they've lost their, if you will, light as well in many cases here. Not all, but it is indicated, so I have to say. And I know not everybody subscribes to Christianity, and I get that. It's just something that's more or less aligned with vibrational, frequency and um, resonance and so on. Again, if you're tuning into a radio station of 100, you're not going to get radio station 200 on your radio, right? You can't even tune into that. Well, they're not able to tune into the things that can help them out of this mess until they make an concerted and a genuine effort to try to raise their vibration, frequency, and resonance. I hope that makes more sense. Okay, so aside from any religious dogma or whatever, it's about, resonance, frequency, and vibration. And that's more echoed, I guess, along the lines in terms of dogma, and even though it's also stated less, candidly, in the Abrahamic faith, you can definitely see it in Buddhism, you definitely see it in Hinduism, okay? Um, but it is also spoken in the Abrahamic faith. It's just, alluded to in a little bit different verbiage. Alright, so with that being said, I hope I didn't just, lose you out there with this, but, keep your vibration, your resonance up. Make sure that you are in that both defensive and protective energy as well, because we still have our responsibilities. We still have things that we have to do here. And that doesn't mean be paranoid. You have no reason to be paranoid. You're looked after, okay? You have an army of actual, you know, your ancestors that are looking after you. Plus, whatever else has been given to you in terms of angelic protection, if you believe in that, or spiritual protection, extraterrestrial protection, whatever it is you believe in. Believe me, it's there if you're vibrating at a much higher resonance frequency, or um, what have you. They can't touch you. Okay. That doesn't mean the road is not going to be a little rocky from time to time. We all go through that, I mean, look at the life of Jesus. Look at the life of the Buddha. Look at the life of Krishna. We see it again and again and again and again. So even the most, spiritual among us have experienced these hard times. So we're going to experience them too. Okay. All right. But, keep up your faith and, rest assured that things are changing. And that wheel of fortune, so to speak, from vernacular of tarot, is flipping. And those who've been riding the hog for so long on that that upper portion of that wheel are now at the bottom, where a lot of us have been for quite a long period of time, so that we can learn our lessons. Now, hopefully, they're going to learn theirs. Okay. All right. I rambled on again, an extra 6-7 minutes. So stay victorious out there, collective. We'll look at the entire week's energy tomorrow. Until then, God bless. Take care. Okay.